Southeast Asia is predominantly agricultural, but increased production of horticulture crops has not been adequate to meet demand. The main cause is high post-harvest loss. A Philippine survey on selected fruits and vegetables showed that post-harvest losses ranged from 32 to 78% or even higher under unfavorable circumstances such as typhoons and delayed shipment. Post-harvest handling system is the weakest link in the production marketing chain for fresh produce. High post-harvest losses mean less available food and reduced income for farmers and traders. The time, resources, and labor used for production are also wasted. If losses are reduced by 10%, the country could save millions of pesos per year. The present PHTRC without the ASEAN is known simply as PHTRC. Its vision is to be the center of academic and technological excellence on post-harvest science of tropical horticultural crops in the ASEAN region that is internationally connected and industry-oriented. Its mission is to modernize and enhance the global competitiveness of the Philippine horticulture industry through post-harvest systems development and improvement. The center is guided by its three major mandates. Most post-harvest basic researches in the country are done at PHTRC. It covers morphoanatomy, biochemistry, pathology and entomology, post-harvest physiology, biotechnology, engineering studies conducted in collaboration.
Philippine cattle were developed. The 1960s was a fruitful decade for research. Makapuno, a coconut cultivar often made into a dessert, was pioneered and perfected. Meanwhile, the Dairy Training and Research Institute was the first in the country to freeze buffalo semen, paving the way for artificial insemination of local carabaos. Along with the establishment of UPLB in the 70s, the college received the prestigious Ramon Magsaysay Award for International Understanding, Asia's counterpart for the Nobel Peace Prize. In the same decade, the C4 plants were developed. The soil test kits were produced in support of the Masagana 99 program, and the mango induction technique was introduced. Continuing the production of quality research outputs in the 1980s, techniques to minimize post-harvest losses, the accelerated fish sauce manufacturing process, and the rapid test for the detection of pesticide residue on vegetables were developed. The 1990s saw many new varieties across species or crop types, including Sinta papaya, the first Philippine-bred hybrid, UPLB Gold, a durian variety, and Doña Amelita, a musaenda named after the wife of former President Fidel Ramos. The award-winning National Corn-Based Farmer Scientist RDE Training Program, or FSTP, was also established around this time and still remains as one of the university's primary extension programs. In the field of instruction, the book titled Integrating Sustainable Agriculture in the BSA Curriculum, the UPLB College of Agriculture Experience, was published in 1999. At present, the College of Agriculture and Food Science, or CAFS, continues to be the premier institution of higher learning in agriculture and food science, and remains committed to nation building through its instruction, research, and extension programs. In order to produce the best graduates, courses are outcomes-based education, and continuous improvement of the curriculum is being practiced to meet the challenges of the 21st century. As testament of excellence, CAFS is constantly recognized by different organizations. In research, it continued to implement relevant studies with focus on the 12 priority commodities to address food security. Moreover, technologies are constantly developed to aid in responsible food production. Supplementing these are extensive activities to disseminate the knowledge generated to improve productivity and livelihood of the people. We believe that present technologies will future-proof our food systems. Some of our notable developments are iDetect, Coraginam, Plant Health and Pest Clinic, Pest Management Tools and Techniques, Smarter Pest Identification Technology or SpeedTech, Snap Hydroponics, Drone Technology, Rapid Immunofilter Assay for Virus Indexing, Nanofertilizers Fertigrow, Formagrow, Nanobiosensors, Biochar, we at the College of Agriculture and Food Science will continue to promote and nurture a culture with innovative yet conscientious minds and cutting-edge skills to lead and serve the country and the region. We are one college with one goal towards sustainable food systems.
A center of excellence, a nurturing space for innovation, creativity, and academic freedom. This is the University of the Philippines, Los Baños. As a constituent university of the University of the Philippines system, UPLB is a leading national higher education and research institution in various niche areas. Grounding itself on the needs of national development, UPLB cultivates well-rounded and critical leaders who are ready to lead breakthroughs and innovations. Through its industrial and academic partnerships, UPLB propagates its gains to advance inclusive development in various sectors. The educational institute upholds honor, excellence, and public service.
Mga freshies, mga ka-freshness. So we are live here at the PHTRC Annex building, right here at the University of the Philippines, Los Baños in Laguna, Philippines. And hello also to our online audience, whichever part of the globe you are right now. So welcome to the 10th episode of Fresh Talks, the PHTRC webinar series, which is brought to you by the Postharvest Horticulture Training and Research Center of the College of Agriculture and Food Science, UP Los Baños. So we are also currently viewed via Zoom and live streamed at the PHTRC's official Facebook page. The links of the live streams are also shared on the PHTRC Facebook page. So if our loyal followers recall, it was during our last episode, episode 9, when our Balikbayan guest, former World Bank Senior Agriculturist Dr. Edgardo Quisumbing, also a retired professor and former chair of Arden Department of Horticulture, shared with us his experience in African agriculture. And not only him, but a number of Filipino and UPLB-grown experts who in one way or another contributed and played a key role in the modernization of African agriculture. So today, Our resource person will talk about her experiences in working with ASEAN, or the countries under the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, in South Pacific region and also Africa on post-harvest handling of fresh produce. So we are in for a very informative session this morning. So please sit back, relax, listen, and enjoy the rest of the time as we give you yet another fruitful episode of Fresh Talks, the PHTRC webinar series. So siguro tuloy-tuloy na tayo. I would just like to bring you back down memory lane because what date is today? April 28, 2023. And actually, the Fresh Talk started in 2021. No? And 12 days more, and Fresh Talks, the webinar series will turn 2 years already. So this is really a lockdown seminar. So we're nearing 2 years. And last May 7, 2021, it was formally launched, the Fresh Talks, and streamed via Zoom and Facebook Live. So this webinar series is an extension initiative and the hope of reaching more of our partners and stakeholders and catering to the needs of the general public. So in keeping perishable commodities like fruits, vegetables, even flowers of good quality for the long haul. So the webinars aim to further the cause of the PHTRC in ensuring quality and reducing losses and waste in fresh produce. And also, this is in support of the Department of Agriculture's Plant, Plant, Plant campaign and the national government's call for securing safe food amidst the pandemic and even now post-pandemic. So today, we will have right in the flesh. Actually, our second resource person. So episode 2, she was the resource person, and now she's here with us live from her so-called second home, New Zealand, the land of the Kiwis, no? And we will be hearing a lot about her extent of work in ASEAN and Africa, and we will have our morning really full of information and perhaps new knowledge, no, particularly about post-harvest. So this is Deng Maunahan, your PHTRC Extension Coordinator, and I will be your host for today's webinar. Okay, again, we're viewed via Zoom, via PHTRC Facebook page. Just some reminders for our participants. Please fill out the attendance form at bit.ly/freshtalks EP10A. The link is sent in Zoom chat box comment section for the Zoom attendees. And we encourage everyone to ask questions during the question and answer segment after the presentation. And the Google link form is at bit.ly/freshtalksep10q for the questions. And it's important that only those who completed and submitted the attendance form and the evaluation form at bit.ly/freshtalksep10eval will receive the certificates. So without further ado, let's open today's program. Actually, we actually opened it informally today, and I'll be calling on Ms. Leonisa Artes, our University Extension Specialist and Chair of the In-House Seminar Committee, to introduce our resource person.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Our guest speaker for this morning is a former graduate of UPLB. She finished her master's degree in horticulture, major in post-harvest physiology. And later, she took up her PhD in agricultural science from the University of Tsukuba, Japan. In terms of work, she has been a post-harvest scientist, research scientist, and manager with the Dole Food Company and Del Monte Fresh Produce, which are both in the Philippines. She has also worked in Papua New Guinea as principal post-harvest scientist at the NARI Institute, where she worked on improvement of sweet potato supply chains in Papua New Guinea. And later, which is her current work up to now, she is working at plant and food research in New Zealand, which has been her home away from home since then. Among her most notable work since joining the plant food research in New Zealand are the design of the technical consultancy projects with Vietnam, especially on the passion fruit supply chain. Okay, and at present, she has worked with several tropical and temperate fruits, including avocado, pineapple, banana, papaya, mango, dragon fruit, passion fruit, avocado, persimmon, etc. Okay. She has also traveled to most of the ASEAN countries where there were projects involving the company. And now she is here to share with us some of her post-harvest experiences. Our guest speaker, by the way, is Dr. Guinevere Ortiz, or Ging for short. Okay.
Shall you take it away? Okay.
Driving into UPLB this morning brought back a lot of memories, both good and bad, but all good, but more good than bad. So I'm happy to be here finally in the flesh. The last time I was here was in 2010. And so many things have changed since then. Even the way going to Los Baños has changed dramatically. I almost did not recognize the road coming here. So good morning to all of you and to the viewers on Facebook and on Zoom. Today, I'm going to talk about my experiences in working with ASEAN, Africa, and South Pacific regions on post-harvest handling of fresh produce. So for the talk outline, first, I'm going to talk about my organization, the Institute for Plant and Food Research, New Zealand. And something about may be interesting to many of you, what is international agricultural development work and how do you get there exactly? And are you up for the challenge? And then finally, key learnings in my journey so far. So I won't repeat myself anymore. I think Leonie has given us enough information, but I'm a post-harvest scientist, but the work that I do is mostly on international development. So I belong to the post-harvest science team, but most of my work is with the International Development Unit in the same institute. So my career journey, in the 90s, I earned my master's degree. I jumped jobs a lot, as many young people would normally do. And then I went to study for my PhD and earned that in 2004, did postdoc for a year. And as many PhD graduates would do, you question yourself where you really what's your calling? Where do you go to next? So you try all sorts of things. Some people get stuck in doing postdoc and then feeling lost for a long time. And some people like me, I said, I better do something now and take a real job. So you can't be a postdoc forever. So I tried teaching, which was a big mistake. I mean, I enjoyed my time, but I think teaching is a gift, not given to everyone. I think most of you will agree with me. So I tried teaching undergraduate botany and graduate physiology and biochem in Ateneo. And it stressed me out. It wasn't for me. So I said, I give it to the experts. It's not for me at all. So after that, from the Philippines, I flew to Papua New Guinea, which for some people was a crazy decision. But I liked the job description. I accepted the role. And although Papua New Guinea is not the best place to be, but the work itself was very rewarding. So I think that was the beginning of my passion for international development work, but it didn't happen right away. So I quit NARI at some point in 2007. I needed to go home. So I joined Dole Food Company. I spent my 7 years there as post-harvest scientist. And then jumped to Del Monte Fresh Produce. And from there, I accepted a role with the New Zealand Institute for Plant and Food Research in 2018. And as they say, the rest is history. So yeah, it's a fruit cocktail now in terms of a post-harvest experience, a range of products, including breadfruit, avocado. I won't go through this, but you know them. So I work with the plant and food research. We call ourselves PFR, Plant and Food Research, but it's the New Zealand Institute for Plant and Food Research. It's a New Zealand-based company providing research and innovation to ensure the sustainable growth of the plant and marine-based food industries. So about us, we were incorporated in December 2008, and we are based in New Zealand. We are government-owned. Our revenue is around 184 million New Zealand dollars in 2020 and 2021, but our legacy extends back to 1926. So in terms of income, 64% of our income comes from private contracts and royalties, and 36% comes from New Zealand government contracts. In terms of capabilities, ours is an end-to-end science, so which means we do breeding work to as far as consumer research. We also do commercialization, product, and business development. So these are the 7 Crown Research Institutes of New Zealand. NIWA looks after weather, and so on and so forth, ESR, Ag Research, Scion, and Plant and Food Research. So we have more than 900 staff based at 14 sites across New Zealand, as well as offices in Australia and the USA. So this is the New Zealand map. So we're from north to south. We have stations from north to south, and the main being in Auckland, which is around here. So we also have an office in South Australia, in Adelaide, and in Queensland, and then in Oregon in the USA. So like I said, our sectors are end-to-end. We do arable crops, berry fruits, food and ingredients, vegetables, seafood, technologies, tree crops, and vine crops. And also capabilities including sensing technology, total utilization, food safety, biosecurity and crop protection, soil, water, and climate, crop optimization, supply chain optimization, conservation and ecology, and seafood production. So because we are plant and food, so we cover all these. So in terms of post-harvest, some of you may remember this slide when I presented in 2021. So we are one of the largest and best equipped post-harvest groups in the Southern Hemisphere. And the lab is in the top 5 globally as assessed in 2016. We deliver short-term solutions through applied research and longer-term solutions based on enhanced fundamental knowledge of post-harvest metabolism. So there are 4 teams under post-harvest fresh foods. We have post-harvest science, fresh food metabolism, microscopy and cell walls, quality and storage insights. So this is some of our facilities at the post-harvest lab. Those are controlled atmosphere chambers. So we have over 80% 80 temperature controlled rooms, including dynamic CA and temperature rooms, CA rooms, MA facilities. And we also have heat treatment facilities, including water baths and hot air units. We have ethylene treatment systems for pre-ripening, ethylene conditioning, and ethylene antagonists, microscopes, gas chrom, quality and texture assessment tools, and sensory science laboratories. Aside from a good post-harvest team and post-harvest facilities, we also have an international development unit. So it was established 2017, relatively new. The team has got 12 core and 50 scientists. So these are scientists across cutting across disciplines at plant and food research. And our funding comes from the New Zealand government, Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade, New Zealand government-to-government initiative. And we also have international funding coming from World Bank, ACR of Australia. And our current work includes Asia, Myanmar, Cambodia, the Philippines, India, and Vietnam. And in the Pacific, we also have work in Tonga, Samoa, and Fiji. In the Caribbean, we have Barbados, Belize, and in Africa, we have work on avocado in Kenya. So just to mention other previous and ongoing work, we have the dragon fruit program in Vietnam. We have an avocado project in Kenya. We have Tonga in watermelon export pathway project in Tonga, the Myanmar Resilient Horticulture project in Myanmar, Vietnam Passion Fruit program. This is a new project. We have a Caribbean Sargassum project, and an upcoming one, which I'm excited about, improving mango production for export in Mindanao, which will be launching very soon. We also have a vanilla project in Tonga and a horticulture project in India and the Cambodia Quality Horticulture Project. So yeah, what is international agricultural development? Is it, how do you get there? And what are the skills needed to pursue a career in international agricultural development? First is you need, of course, agricultural skills. It doesn't matter if you're a post-harvest scientist or an agronomist, so long as it's an agricultural skill. You have to have knowledge and skills in agricultural production, technology, and economics. Second, you have to have cultural competence. So as in my journey, it has been a learning experience. I think I owe it to my stay in UPLB. That I had the opportunity to meet and be friends with people from other cultures, especially my stay at Circa Dorm. So I think I remember my stay there. I used to cook pancit canton all the time because I was lazy to cook anything. And so the Thais and the Indonesians would say, just eat with us. We are tired of looking at you eating pancit canton all the time. So that's how I became exposed to Thai food, to Indonesian food, to their culture. So I think I draw my experience from that. So cultural competence is the ability to connect with and learn from people who have different life experiences, knowledge, beliefs, traditions, and habits. This is an easy thing to do because each culture is unique. And so you have to be able to listen, observe, and just be friendly, make friends, and for before you know it, you'll have lasting connections with them. So a third skill is collaborative problem solving, or is this the fourth anyway? The capacity to work with others to identify problems and to develop effective community-focused solutions. So that's one. So this photo is from our work in Kenya. And this is my boss, Dr. Alan Wolf, who's leading the post-harvest component of the project. So flexibility, meaning it's the readiness to change plans or try something new. The ability to recognize when it's time to adopt a different approach. When you go to a certain country, you have all these plans laid out, and just to find out that it's not it's not fit for the local context of things. So you have to be able to adapt. You have to be flexible and ready to change plans. So I'll now go through my work in the ASEAN region. So some of the past and ongoing projects I've worked on are the Myanmar Avocado Project. This was funded by Swiss Asia and USAID. Supporting the dragon fruit industry in Vietnam. This was funded by the New Zealand Aid Program from 2013 to 2022. We also have the Vietnam Avocado Project and a new one, which is the Vietnam Passion Fruit Value Chain Project, or Vietfruit. And then the QA system for Philippine mangoes, which is starting soon. So I cannot present some of these because some of these are confidential, but I'm free to share with you our work on dragon fruit, passion fruit, and the Philippine mango project. So I have talked about this before, but just if this is new to you, then yeah, that's good. So it's about it's a premium fruit variety development, phase 2. It's the in other words, the Vietnam Dragon Fruit Project. We worked on this from 2013 to 2021, and we have partners, namely Southern Horticultural Research Institute, or SOFRI, and the Sub-Institute for Agricultural Engineering and Post-Harvest Technology, or SIAP. For our key accomplishments, we were able to develop high-pressure washing machines to clean fruit instead of hand cleaning. So we also established optimum storage temperature for storing the fruit. We developed a cheap and portable forced air cooling system and developed a protocol development for the control of post-harvest diseases through hot water dips. And we did training and capacity building as well. So this is a relatively new one, our new premium fruit variety development, phase 3, which is the Vietnam Passion Fruit Project. It's funded by New Zealand Aid Program. We just started last year, and until 2027. Our project partners are the Southern Horticultural Research Institute, and to cover the central to southern part of Vietnam. And we also have the Northern Mountainous Agriculture and Forestry Science Institute, or NAMAFC, and we have a corporate partner, NAFoods Group. So in Vietnam, the key issues in passion fruit growing are the following: low yields and low quality. So we must address the high disease pressure, and there's a need to improve farm management practices. So ineffective post-harvest methods. So we have identified the need to improve harvest and post-harvest technology, and the opportunity to improve storage, ripening, and processing. And there's also poor value chain coordination. So there's really a real opportunity to strengthen cooperation, and these entities must work together to achieve a higher quality. So we're aiming for that the next couple of years. So what's our strategy then? So it's, we have core partners, we have extension, commercialization, research, and contextualization. So all these players will work towards this together with us at Plant and Food Research. So what are the challenges in working in the ASEAN region? So one, of course, is the language barrier. Yeah, it's when information changes hands, it's quite a challenge. And when you give a lecture, for example, you have to pause, someone translate it to the local language, and yeah, so it can disrupt your thought flow, but in the end, it's a learning experience. Cultural differences, of course, this is a given. You have to accept who they are and how you are as well. Gender and status, different for every, this is unique for every country. So there is no one formula for this. And also the ability to correct without causing loss of face. So you have to know the local nuances and being able to correct without really causing loss of face. Also respecting status and positions regardless, even if you don't like the people you're working with, for example, even you don't get along, but you have to respect status and position. Also changing traditional entrenched ways of doing things. I've experienced you try to train and then they tell you like, we've been doing this our entire life, so it must be the right way to do. So why tell us that it's wrong? So something like that. So trying to inspire them is really a challenge for you as an agricultural development scientist. And also, time is the best investment you can make to build relationships and credibility. And it is also the one in least supply in many projects with only short in-country times because of cost to the project. So you try to do a lot of things, but in terms of cost, then you cannot stay there for a month or two to really inspire change. And so you have to have good partners to do the work for you, to be able to continue the work even without you being in country. So if you're in country, make use of your time there. Do all you can to do the work that you need to do. But then you have to have, like I said, good partners to do the rest of the work while you're not in country. So South Pacific and Oceania is also a unique place to work. I had the opportunity to work in 3 countries, namely Papua New Guinea, Tonga, and Samoa. Sorry. Okay. In Samoa, we partnered with the Scientific Research Organization of Samoa, the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries of Samoa, and the Agricultural Research Service of the U.S. Department of Agriculture. So this was on the B3, under B3, Better Border Biosecurity New Zealand, and it was on the offshore risk reduction and quarantine requirements, quarantine treatments. So this was the hot temperature forced air chamber that we were using to disinfest breadfruit for fruit fly, to kill fruit fly eggs. So what are the outcome and objectives? We were aiming to develop fit-for-purpose pre-border disinfestation treatment systems for import. So we were aiming to bring in breadfruit coming from the South Pacific islands to Australia, New Zealand, where there is a high population of South Pacific Islanders, for example, Tonga, Samoans, Fijians. They like the fruit. It's their staple fruit. It's their staple food. So we were developing temperature treatments for fruit flies and other contaminants, X-ray systems for disinfecting commodities offshore, and systems approaches for controlling high-impact pests and other contaminants. So these are breadfruit ready for treatment with X-ray. So these are some of the photos from my travels, from my work in Samoa. This was in Hawaii at the USDA in Hilo, and this was the lab at SROS in Samoa. And some of the things we did to rid the fruit of latex. So we just fabricated this out of bamboo slats and just use this as a drip before packing the fruit for our experiments. So I also had the opportunity to work with the Tongans, wonderful people like the Samoans. That was for the Tonga watermelon export pathway to New Zealand. So the project, it's still ongoing, is funded by the Pacific Horticultural and Agricultural Market Access, or FAMA Plus. Our partners are two of the major exporters of watermelon in Tonga, like Nishi Trading and the Ministry of Trade and Economic Development. So, and maybe Tonga is tiny, but it's got fertile soil, very fit for watermelon growing. And so they have an export pathway to New Zealand. And this pathway has been in existence since early 2020s. So they regularly bring export watermelon to New Zealand during the off-season. And then as New Zealand is able to produce watermelons, then the pathway, then they give way to the New Zealand watermelons to enter the market. So our project objective is to identify and resolve in-field post-harvest and logistics marketability issues on watermelon export pathways in Tonga. So we are a team of 5 representing disciplines such as pathology, entomology, and agronomy, and myself as the post-harvest specialist. So also, I had the chance to work in Papua New Guinea for 2 years as principal scientist at the National Agricultural Research Institute. And I was the local lead on the post-harvest component of a project on sweet potato, which was funded by ACR. So this was from one of my travels, a very young Dr. Ortiz with the local kids who were very fascinated with my hair, as it was like they wanted just to see how the hair, the straight hair felt like, you know. So it was fun. So the project was entitled Improving Marketing Efficiency, Post-Harvest Management and Value Addition of Sweet Potato in Papua New Guinea. So among the notable, although I did not get to finish this project, I was only involved in the first 2 years of its implementation, but proud to say that they have the major impacts include increased income for smallholder farmers to improve access to credit and money management skills and better post-harvest handling practices. So for this project, we were trying to improve the supply chain from the highlands of Papua New Guinea to the lowlands. So to travel from the highlands to Port Moresby, for example, the capital city, it takes around maybe a week or so, because then you'll have to bring the sweet potatoes all the way back from the highlands to the lowlands, and then by ship all the way to Port Moresby. So by the time the sweet potatoes reach Port Moresby, then the quality, as you could expect, would be the damage would be enormous. So they were able to empower women due to improved marketing skills and financial literacy. improve capacity for extension officers in linking farmers to service providers. I think now they're able to produce, the project also included value addition. So now they're able to produce sweet potato flour, and they're actively promoting recipes using sweet potato flour. So it's really good to see these results. I think one thing good about international development work is that you see results, you see tangible results. Whereas as opposed to, I don't know, maybe it's a matter of perspective, but you see results right away. So it is very fulfilling. But what are the challenges? Health and safety issues, natural disasters. I was in Tonga last year when there was a major, not a major earthquake, but there was an earthquake and there was a tsunami alert. So being in the country by myself, it was quite a challenge because I didn't know what to do. I was in a hotel, and then there was an announcement. I could hear it, but it was in Tongan. So I think they did English later, but I was at a loss. There was a tsunami alert. Where do we go? Where do I go? And then I asked the hotel manager, is there a plan? He said, it's nothing. So, but then I said, no, this is not nothing. There's a tsunami alert. And so I called my project partners and they rescued me. We drove all the way to the center of the island and passed the night there. So those things those are the issues and the dangers that you have to face when working overseas, especially if you're traveling on your own. Again, cultural differences, this is a given. Gender and status, again, ability to correct without causing loss of face, respecting status and positions, and again, changing traditional ways of doing things. I encountered this firsthand in Tonga. So I was told, who is this woman coming in, the scientist telling us to change our ways when we've been doing this our entire life. So yeah, that's a blank wall there, and you have to think of something to, how do I change this? Is there even way of changing the ways of doing things? Okay, so Africa, I had a chance to work in Kenya. We have an avocado project in Kenya. And this project is the Kenya Avocado Industry Support Program, or KAISP. It's funded by the New Zealand Aid Program. It has been, the first phase was in 2013 to 2018, and an extension 2019 to 2022. But this was extended due to the pandemic, so we're capping off the project soon in June through a conference in Kenya. Our partner here is Olivado Avocado. They're one of the biggest avocado oil producers in New Zealand. So what have we established? Harvest timings based on dry matter content, help set up a dry matter monitoring and measurement system, established an organic avocado ripening protocol to produce avocado oil, and the overall outcome being better fresh fruit quality exported and better quality avocado oil. So these are workers feeding ripe avocado into the system to produce avocado oil. So Olivado does both oil and fresh fruit. And Kenya is a big avocado producer. So this was us at the factory, and some of the avocados we saw when we did pack house visits. Again, just a repeat, it's the same thing, especially in Kenya. The roads are not, the roads are paved, but they're not marked. So you don't know which is the right lane and the left lane. So you just drive straight and hope that no oncoming traffic. So especially if you drive at night. Some of the roads have not lit, so it's driving in the dark, no marks on the road. So yeah, good luck. So yeah, no, not I'm not gonna repeat this, but it's same. The challenges are the same. So what are the rewards of international development work then? Tangible nature of work. The results of your work are often visible and meaningful. So it's very rewarding. Varied work, no 2 days are the same. So no routine whatsoever. So me, I can do routine, but as I got older, I realized that straight lab work is not for me anymore. I get more inspiration from being able to inspire, change, and help others with the knowledge that I have. So experience different cultures. This is very exciting, but again, it's not for everyone. Opportunity to travel. I think I don't need to explain this. If you've been following my Facebook page, then you'll know that I have been on airplanes for most of my life. Working in incredibly diverse surroundings. So yeah, it's an overload, a sensation overload when you go to a different country. The fun and challenge of living in a foreign environment. So far, I have lived in 5 countries, and learning about a new country is always exciting and an opportunity to make lasting friendships. So yeah, those are some of the rewards for me, that is. So some photos of my stay in Papua New Guinea. These are the friends that I made. And yeah, just to end my talk with our upcoming work in the Philippines, which is very exciting. I think this is one of the first few projects that are New Zealand-based, and this is the improving Philippines mango quality for export. I know you don't improve quality, you just maintain it, but somehow it ended up like that. The country, the Philippines, funder, New Zealand Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade, which is facilitated by New Zealand government to government. It's a joint venture between MFAT and New Zealand Trade and Enterprise. So it's starting in May, although there was an official launch in Manila last week to June 2025. Our partners are the Midsayap City Local Government Unit, Mindanao Development Authority, agri-chemical companies, mango exporters, and the University of the Philippines, Mindanao. So this was during the official sign-off in Manila. The project components are the following: Assured Chemical Spray Program. This is in response to the high MRL violations of mangoes coming from the Philippines, going into markets like Japan. So the components are Assured Chemical Spray Program to ensure MRL compliance with export markets, Assured Correct Chemical Application, Pathway to Assured Food Safety Certification and Premium Branding, Quality Enhancement. We're hoping to be able to increase pack out of high quality mangoes as a result of if we're able to fix, guide them in their spray program and be able to produce fruit that are residue free, then there's going to be quality enhancement. So I guess that's all I have. Thank you all for your presence.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ortiz, for that very comprehensive, engaging, and I think for especially for the young ones, very inspiring story, particularly for international development work. Because in the academe, we're always, after graduation, it's either that you get employed in a company or you teach or you do research here. But this is something that can open opportunities for our younger generations, and hopefully in maybe in some years time, then we can expect that because of the inspiration given by Dr. Ortiz, there will be more. You will be able to duplicate, multiply, and your tribe will increase, no? In terms of development work, not only for international, but also we start with local, no? And then perhaps if you really love to travel, then maybe sometime later, after serving, you can go also international sometime later. I think I forgot one part of the program earlier. We were not able to get a photo op. Maybe some in the online audience might be waiting for their time for a short photo op. I'm sorry for the director of the proceedings, but I have to ask people to turn on your video cams and flash your sweetest smiles for brief photo op for documentation purposes. I hope that Dr. Ortiz is also there together with the rest of the participants. Okay, are we ready? Ready. Where should she look? Perhaps focus the camera to Dr. Ortiz. Okay, yes. So in 3, 2, 1. Okay. Okay now. Thank you very much. And we also would like first, before the open forum, we'd like to acknowledge the participants coming from all over the country. And we were just informed that somebody from Nepal is online. How do you say? Good day. We don't know if it's evening or what time of the day it is. So it's just good morning, and we hope that you had a really good time listening to Dr. Ortiz and her very inspiring story. I'm personally impressed and inspired also because we've been doing also same line of work, but maybe just limited extent, no, locally. But of course, learning that somebody who graduated from here and whom we have worked earlier is out there and doing these things for us is already motivation and continued inspiration for every one of us here. So I don't know if there's another person from Indonesia also online, but for the rest we have from Apari to Holo, because we have people also from Basilan joining us. I think this is maybe the second or third time that we had people from really southern part of the Philippines who have become our Suki or loyal viewers. So let's we would like to ask the live audience for questions. The floor is yours for questions for Dr. Ortiz. And for those on Zoom, you may send your questions using the Google link, Google form, bit.ly/freshtalks EP10Q provided in the Zoom chat box. And for those joining us via Facebook, the link for the questions will be posted also at the comment section of the live stream. Easily, we have a few questions now. Number one, I'm not really sure if this is what the person is would like to say. How can an agronomist or horticulturist take part in post-harvest activities, particularly in terms of machines. I don't know how you will interpret that, or maybe post-harvest activities. But if you are into horticulture, definitely it's a related, and even for agronomy, because there are many people coming over who are now into the handling of fresh produce, who are the backgrounds of whom are agronomy. So agronomy and horti really very related. Actually, before the Institute of Crop Science was formed, there used to be a Department of Horticulture, a Department of Agronomy, and Department of Soil Science.
So it's no more.
Yeah, and more. Been clustered into the Crop Science Institute. I don't know. Dr. Ortiz, can you say something about this question? I'm also...
I think you answered it pretty well. Like, I was an agronomist before I shifted to horticulture. So I think it can be done.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay. So, and even the machines, no? It's just a matter of having a multidisciplinary team for you to be able, like those that you presented, the highlights of the accomplishments in individual projects. There are really some solutions
Yeah.
na really relating to like small equipment, small facilities to facilitate doing things. Another question is, given that you worked in foreign countries, did you find problems that are unique to the Philippines that cannot be encountered in those other countries? Well, Dr. Ortiz.
Unique to the Philippines?
Unique.
No, I can't think of anything at the moment.
Okay.
I think the challenges that you face are the same. It's just that on a different context because of culture.
Yes.
So again, I will be starting this project in Mindanao, and I have worked here for many years, but this is me as representing New Zealand government, but at the same time I'm Filipino, so it's a win-win. So it's going to present another set of challenges, but yeah, to answer the question, I think it is just about the same for any country. It's just in a different context.
Okay. So it's more of the cultural and the overall context within which you have that particular situation.
Yes.
Okay. Another question is, how important will be the role of government or policymakers when it comes to this kind of endeavor, this kind of activities relating to international agricultural development and post-harvest aspects like this, the nature of your work?
Really, their role is going to be important in the same way that the role of your project partners in country would be very important to be able to impress change as a result. So it's a process, but it's not you directly, but through your project partners and them and inspiring change and policy changes on the way, on the up.
Yeah. Perhaps that's also one of the major problems of international development work, because you have to work within the confines of what policies there are in the particular country that you are working with. However noble, however special your solutions that you can think of, it really depends on the policies that are in country. Okay. So, okay, from the live audience. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, ma'am. I'm Julie, and I'm one of the URAs here in Postharvest. So my
Hello.
question is, at first, I just want to say that I really appreciate your talk as it's full of personal stories, and I feel like personal stories really work best in capturing our interest, and that with that I feel like it's very relatable because it has vulnerabilities to it. And I don't know if you mean it to be that way, but it really came off as very inspiring.
Thank you.
So my question is somehow related to that is how would you compare working your way here in the Philippines as compared to in other countries you've been to? And what advice can you give us younger generations in if we wish to pursue a career as inspiring as yours?
Thanks. Wow. Okay. What sorry, what was that again? How yeah. Mm. Yeah, true. Okay. Mm. In New Zealand, it's not easy to worm your way around because somehow you feel this sense that you're Asian and they're, but then somehow they listen to you. They listen to your ideas. And I have worked in the Philippines. I worked with the OST. I worked with a commercial company, Dole and Del Monte, and they're different experiences altogether. So I think it was a bit difficult in the Philippines, to be honest, to fight your way up. And so there are so many like little bits of politics going around. But I appreciate that in New Zealand, that's somehow almost non-existent. So I'm thankful that I was given this opportunity to work there, but not saying that I don't miss the country, but like I said, I'm still Filipino, but although I'm New Zealand permanent resident, so it's always win-win for me. And so, yeah, answer your question. Advice. I think it's a different journey for everyone. But like I said, if you want to try working for the commercial companies, then go ahead, because it will give you a different perspective on things. Because it's your lab is the orchard, your lab is the pineapple field, the banana orchard. So it will give you a different perspective. You say, this worked in the lab, but it doesn't work in the field. This doesn't work in the pack house. So your lab is the pack house compared to a controlled experiment. Those are totally different things sometimes.
Okay. Yes, Francis.
Good day, ma'am. Thank you very much for your presentation. It was indeed very inspiring. I really learned a lot. And this is actually, I have two questions. One is, this was out of curiosity. So I was thinking, did you ever, in the different areas that you went to, did you ever encounter war-torn or areas that were ridden with so many conflicts? I was really curious if you've encountered those, and did you see how did those conflicts affect post-harvest handling in those countries? And then the other question that I'm interested in, this is a little bit of a more personal question, since I know that you've reached a lot in your field. So how do you know that the thing that you're studying or the topic that you're studying is what you really want? Because me, as I'm a Jura here in PHTRC, I've literally just started, and I really want to pursue my research career, and admittedly, in many ways, I'm still lost in those things. So yes, I would really like your advice. Thank you.
Okay, so this is turning to be a career counseling session, right? So yeah, I can relate to what you're saying. Okay, but first, your first question. Fortunately, not yet. We had a project in Myanmar 2 years ago, but then the pandemic struck. And so we had to do everything online. So like I said, we thought of ways to deliver. Everything was delivered via Zoom, but in the end, we were able to help them build a post-harvest lab. They were able to extract oil from avocado. So all that done from a distance. So yeah, despite the fact that there's the situation in Myanmar. So your second question, I believe that doors just open for you. It was not, none of these were like the result of a grand plan that I have from the beginning, but I knew what I wanted. I wanted to be a post-harvest scientist. That's what drove me into accepting, but I think things just happen. You don't need to knock on the door will open for you. The opportunities will open for you. That's how it worked for me. I think I was just lucky to be given those, although sometimes I wanted to apply for this job and I didn't get it and say, why? But then somehow another door opens for you and say, oh, okay, now it makes sense. So like the role in Papua New Guinea, a lot of people said I was crazy, but the role in Papua New Guinea actually was a major factor in me getting this role as an international development post-harvest scientist. So something like that.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, it's more of an advising session. But I think you were able to really inspire and motivate. That's why that's the trend of the questions. Because I myself, I'm motivated and inspired. At my age, still motivated and inspired. But you see, we're very happy for you because we've seen and worked with you here. That's why. So it's kind of a family thing. And that's why when she comes over, she really makes it a point to, hey, I'm here. Can I go there? Can I talk on a thing or two? Just like the other past speakers, they would knock on our doors and say that, hey, I'm here. I can speak and talk about this particular topic you might be interested. Well, of course, with open hands. But I would like to maybe add something to what you and Francis have been discussing. And definitely, if a door closes, there are windows that always open. So maybe the moral of the story is that we always be ready, no, ready, because when these opportunities knock, they sometimes just knock once. You're lucky enough if they knock twice. So we always be ready, especially that maybe also one lesson that we learned from the pandemic, because it's not always, the situation is not just always like this, because all of us were not ready for the pandemic, no? And we had really to be more innovative and think of things out of the box so that we will be able to adjust. And like what Dr. Ortiz said, their project for Myanmar, imagine, that's a lockdown project basically, but they were able to put up a lab by going online. Oh, I'm really impressed with that, because like we had one project here, it's really a survey type of project, and it's also a lockdown project because it started at the time that it started, then boom, it's lockdown. So we really had to be very innovative so that we can have field coordinators really doing the job, also cooperating with us. So maybe that's for this morning, lots of realizations and motivations and inspirations also. We'll see if there are any other live questions. Oh, here's somebody. Hi Dong. Hi Dong. Ging, kumusta? Oh, who is this? This is Jong Tanghian. Thank you for a very insightful presentation after years of your extensive experience. How do you compare the level of understanding? Where? Understanding. Understanding. I think it stopped there. Yeah, it stopped there. Level of understanding. Yeah. Can you send again? Send it again. It's not complete. Okay. While he is typing it again, another question is why our country still did not invest seriously in post-harvest facilities to prolong the shelf life of commodities in the barangay level?
I think you're more in the position to answer that.
How can we? Anybody with an idea? Dr. Nuevo, they're looking at people with wisdom. Okay, rather than be banned. Okay, it's been typed here. We go back to the question before we get back. Hi, Dong. Ging, kumusta? This is Jong Tanghian. Thank you for the very insightful presentation. Blah, blah, blah. How do you compare the level of understanding and acceptability of the Filipino farmers in terms of post-harvest technologies as compared to other countries in the region, particularly ASEAN? Next, this is actually three questions. Are they more receptive or are more advanced in terms of practice? And in what areas do we need to improve on to be more competitive with our fresh products?
I think I have limited, working in the Philippines, I have limited exposure because I only worked with our growers in Dole, for example, and Del Monte. But one thing I noticed is that Filipinos are pretty receptive. Yeah, so I don't think I have, I can offer an extensive answer to answer Jong's question. But yeah, so far as my experience is concerned.
Any more questions from the floor? I have one question. I think three questions. Okay, I'm impressed. Aside from you being a woman, no, I also noticed in your other projects, especially in Tonga and where else is that? Papua New Guinea. It looks like to me because of the pictures, or I don't know if you just really selected those pictures to really highlight the women, but it seems very clear for me that women participation in the Tonga watermelon project and Papua New Guinea sweet potato project, they're very visible and they look like they're very much interested and into the project. So in terms of comparing among the countries that you were able to work in, how would you compare or differentiate the reception and participation of women, both your stakeholders, and I think it's not only you as an expert who's a woman, I noticed some other people in the team that also work who are female. Yeah.
You won't believe it, but a lot of the stakeholders I've met in the projects that I've worked in are women, and they are there is this hunger for information. In Tonga, for example, I trained that training that I did was more centered on the women in the horticulture industry, and there was a very good turnout. They were hungry for information. That was one of the first few post-harvest training that were done in Tonga. And I had the honor and the privilege to be able to train them and teach them about basic post-harvest handling. So yeah, even in working in Papua New Guinea, most of the farmers are women. It's not anymore a man's job. Especially in the context of in Papua New Guinea, women farm. Women tend to the gardens. Even in Tonga and even in most of the traders in Vietnam that we've interviewed are women as well. So, yeah. Women power.
Really, women power in post-harvest.
Yeah.
Not only like, of course, parts of like Tonga and Papua New Guinea, really the women do till the land. Not it's something different in the Philippines, but in terms of also marketing, because
Yeah.
they see that the women are better marketers.
Mm.
They're good at marketing. So yes, this gender dimension, gender aspect is very interesting, particularly for post-harvest.
Yeah.
Because like for the Philippines, we've been seeing it more in the packing house, where you need quality control, where you need to have a more, you are more keen about details, so that's more highlighted. But in your experience, there are other very glaring aspects wherein you will see the active role of women in making things happen in the workplace.
Yeah.
And I have another question, because there are no other questions. Any other questions? One more question for me. You also said in your presentation, I'm not sure if it's at the Papua New Guinea project, capability building for extension officers in linking farmers to service providers. Because like in the Philippines, extension is really still wanting, no? The number of people doing extension, that's why that's one of the causes and advocacies of the PHTRC to really multiply ourselves, so that more and more people right there in the production areas will be able to address post-harvest related problems right away. But this is very important if the project will be able to really enhance capability of the extension officers, because they will be the ones, like after the project phase out, they will still be there and they will be doing the things that we cannot do anymore after the project. So what's your take on that? For other projects, is this also a very, like a mainstay activity that you have?
Oh, unfortunately, that project, I was only involved in the first 2 years. And so I looked after the post-harvest component, and some other scientists looked after extension work. So I don't know if I can answer your question. Can satisfy? Maybe not.
But at least there have been indications,
Yeah.
of the capability building. Yeah. And yeah, maybe it's more of, it also depends on the time frame of the project, because it's just one year, 2 years. Like for our research projects, we try to incorporate, so it's more of, even if you're doing research, you already have some extension related activities.
The final report of that project is available online.
Yeah.
And so they would have explained the strategy that they used. And
okay.
you can look
Perhaps
it
you
up.
can have a link to that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay. Would like to acknowledge the presence of a very important person.
Oh my
at the back. Miss Mary. Miss Mary Arboleda. Edralyn. Yeah. Okay, welcome. And are there any more questions? Speak now. I will not add. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Okay. I think they are already very much motivated and inspired and already daydreaming about what they will do later. Okay, but at least I remember that in your presentation, there's a picture showing a seedling. I think you were able to successfully plant that seed, and there's already the seedling coming out. So in a matter of how many years, maybe we will have some interesting stories also coming from those who were able to watch us here live and also online, no? So that's one good thing that we can get from this particular activity. So with that, again, we would like to thank Dr. Ging Ortiz for gracing our show. They say that Ging, that's how we call her, terms of endearment, but someplace else we don't know. It's Dr. Guinevere, Gwen, Well, that looks sweet, sounds sweet. So again, thank you very much also everyone, especially the live audience coming over here and those online, our loyal online viewers, for participating in our open forum. And of course, we would like to award at this point the certificate of appreciation to our resource person. Where's our certificate? Okay. May we call on the assistant to the director of the PHTRC, Ms. Wela Absolio Morales, to help us give this to Dr. Ortiz. Yeah, I'm so excited. I should, my role says that I should read the certificate first, the contents. So certificate of appreciation is awarded to Guinevere Ortiz for sharing her knowledge and expertise as a resource speaker during the PHTRC Fresh Talks, PHTRC Webinar Series, Episode 10, Experiences in Working with ASEAN in South Pacific Region and Africa on Post-Harvest Handling of Fresh Produce, held on April 28, 2023 at the PHTRC Annex Training Room and via Zoom, given this 28th day of April 2023 at the Post-Harvest Horticulture Training and Research Center, College of Agriculture and Food Science, UP Los Baños, Laguna, Philippines. Signed, Dormita Ardel Carmen, Director, PHTRC, and Dr. Elpidio M. Magbisit Jr., Dean of the College of Agriculture and Food Science. Okay, let's give her a round of applause. Okay, thank you very much again, Dr. Ortiz. What a way to spend the morning of Friday, nearing the long weekend, no? Okay, so I just reminded everyone that there's no schedule on Monday. So, okay, so that's all for today. And to bring our webinar program to a formal close, again, Ms. Wela Absolio, please come over.
Ayan. So, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Doc Ging. Thank you very much. And to all the participants of Fresh Talks Episode 10 online and here at PHTRC. Again, we always appreciate your attendance, your participation, and for continuously supporting this activity of PHTRC. We are indeed, proper post-harvest handling contributes a lot. We face various challenges in our food production systems wherever we are. Still, through the experiences of our post-harvest experts and our willingness to to try something new, or our flexibility, as mentioned by Doc Ging, for improvement, we can have good quality commodities, food security, and endless potential, maybe it in our local market or export markets. So another part of the webinar, or this Fresh Talk episode, we were inspired by Doc Ging. So for the agriculture students, you might want to consider post-harvest science. There are great possibilities awaiting, be it in our international or local careers. So we are now to conclude another fruitful Fresh Talks episode. As always, we greatly appreciate the overwhelming support of all participants. Thanks also to Dr. Maunahan and our extension coordinator and the entire PHTRC Extension Committee for consistently delivering another refreshing Fresh Talk episodes. Again, we look forward to having you all in the next episodes of Fresh Talk. So be updated or keep posted to the announcement of PHTRC. So that's all. Good day and take care, everyone.
Thank you, Ma'am Morales. And again, a reminder for everyone, especially those online, kindly fill out the attendance and evaluation form for you to receive your e-certificates. And the link is shared on your screen. We also have, yes, you can just go over what's on the screen. Type in your browsers bit.ly/freshtalks EP10 eval, or you may answer the form by scanning the QR code. And we will open the evaluation form until tomorrow at 5, and you will receive the certificate after 5 working days. And for, again, what Mrs. Absolio Morales already told us, for future announcements, please like and follow our official Facebook page of the PHTRC. And again, thank you very much, Dr. Ortiz. As we say, balik-balik, and paulit-ulit. Balik-balik, always, we're always very much welcome to come to the PHTRC. And there's no reason for us not to be able to do seminars again, because even if you're far, it's just one email away, it's just a Zoom away, no? So we can still do it online, just in case. And we would also like to acknowledge and recognize again the contribution of the men and women behind this webinar. Everyone at the PHTRC Extension Committee, without you, this would not have been possible. Maraming salamat sa lahat, especially those who are really doing multitasking. And please stay tuned for our upcoming webinars and seminars. And you may also message us through our Facebook page so that you can suggest some other related topics that you would like to be discussed. And again, this has been your host, Deng Maunahan. See you again next time. Stay safe and God bless everyone. Mabuhay mga freshies, mabuhay mga ka-freshness, and maniugto na ta. Okay? Hindi mo naintindihan. For those who did not understand, let's have lunch because it's lunch in the Philippines. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Until next time. Okay.